we're going to introduce some of what's in store for us as we embark on an initiative that we call One D&D.
Okay, so first up, the rules. And it looks like you can already go to D&D Beyond and download the first rules module that they want you to test and provide feedback on.
We did a smart thing with 5th edition by listening to the fans. And what came out of that process was a system that is stable, that is well loved, that incorporates the best elements of earlier editions.
There's a bunch of rules on origins and languages, and there's also a section in there on feats, and they're leveled, actually. That's one of the new changes.
Basically, we're very happy with the game the way it is today. We just want to build on that. We're revising the major core rule books that every player uses, the Player's Handbook, the Dungeon Master's Guide, the Monster Manual.
One of my focuses, specifically, is the Dungeon Master's Guide. I'm going to make some structural changes to make it more friendly to new DMs.
Yeah, I really like that they said that they're changing the Dungeon Master's Guide, because a big criticism that I've come across a lot is that it's just not very well formatted, it's not well put together. So I'm really hopeful that they're going to consolidate the Dungeon Master's Guide and make it easy for new DMs to get into, but also just easier in general to reference.
That's what 2024 holds, is this promise of getting new versions of the books that are the game you know, but reflect where the game is presently.
The second pillar is D&D Beyond, and it's basically your digital home for Dungeons & Dragons. They had a good partnership going, but they were acquired by Wizards.
Digital physical bundles is something that we've wanted to do for a long time, and now that D&D Beyond is part of our family, it's finally something we can do.
And by the way, this is something that you can already do with the upcoming Dragonlance adventure book. It's the first bundle you're going to be able to purchase, and that drops in November of this year. Last up is D&D Digital, and they say it's going to be really cool. They're going to give you your own building blocks, basically. It's like a Lego set that you're going to be able to play around with.
Right now we're in early development of our digital experience. We can play a game, roll some dice, see the miniatures moving around in a 3D play space.
There's two main concerns that I see with D&D Digital. There's already a bunch of virtual tabletops out there for people to pick from. They might find that players don't really want to try another one. They don't want to go to another system. They don't want to have to recreate their assets or buy a bunch of different assets just to have what they already had.
We might give you a pre-made campaign from us that has an exciting castle or keep with a dungeon inside of it, exciting NPCs, but then you're going to be able to take this playset, take it apart, and build your own.
Speaking of assets, that's the second concern is, what if it's sort of a walled garden situation where Wizards controls everything that you can buy, right? You can only purchase assets from them. You can't import, you can't pull in from other places or other creators. We're totally dependent on everything that Wizards releases. So, for example, if you wanted to run a campaign in the Underdark, but they hadn't released a bunch of Underdark assets yet, now you're sort of stuck. You can't really run your campaign there if you don't have all the assets and things you need to run a really good game.
What you're going to be able to see starting in August is a steady release of these playtest packages where you'll be able to engage with key aspects of the game, provide us with feedback that then we will digest, process, interpret, analyze, and then act upon.
This is just the start of One D&D, and we are relying on all of you to help us out and figure out that future together.
They're taking the approach where they want a lot of feedback and a lot of play testing. I think as many people should play test and leave feedback as possible. And they've even created a YouTube video, which I'll leave in the description so that we can all give Wizards feedback on where we want them to take Dungeons & Dragons.